Jazz's owner was put in an assisted living facility. Jazz was then left to live at home all alone. Family would come and feed her, but she missed her owner and became severely depressed. She gained lots of extra weight, and she stopped grooming herself, which created painful matted fur all over her body. Thankfully, she was brought to the That Purr Feline Sanctuary, where she was groomed and is no longer alone. She is now happy and has friends, and her family can come visit her at the sanctuary whenever they want. Shadow's owner passed away, and before she died, she made her husband promise to care for him. He did his very best, but at 93 years old, he was struggling to take care of himself. Giving medicine to a spicy 18-year-old Shadow was impossible. So he took Shadow to the vet to be euthanized, feeling like he had failed Shadow and his wife. The vet knew about That Purr Feline Hospice and Sanctuary and helped get Shadow a place there. And while he is still his spicy self, he is making new friends and is well cared for. Oreo came to the That Purr Feline Sanctuary with his bonded friend Puff. Their owner had dementia and no longer recognized them. She would get confused and toss them outside or forget to feed them. They didn't understand what was happening, and at 15 years old, Oreo and Puff needed a new home, one where they were safe and cared for. Thankfully, they found their way to That Purr Feline Sanctuary, which will be their new forever home. Sam and Sal's owner lived alone and had no friends. She was 99 years old and called 911 for help. The ambulance arrived and took her to the hospital, but on the way she died, and her last words were, "Don't let my boys die." Rescuers went back to the house and found the 2 senior cats. No one knew their names. They were taken to the pound and scheduled to be euthanized. A woman from the Humane Society found That Purr and called them to rescue the brothers. The boys were given names and lived out their lives at the sanctuary, just as their owner had wanted. There are 2 benches at the front of the sanctuary to remember the 2 boys and their lives. They will never be forgotten. 14-year-old sisters, Phantom and Cascade, were just kittens when their owner rescued them. He had been at work when he saw their mother get hit by a car. When he went to go check on her, he found the 2 kittens. He took them in and has had them since. Unexpectedly, he died of a heart attack, and no one in the family wanted them. Thankfully, they ended up at the That Purr Feline Hospice and Sanctuary, as Phantom is a diabetic, so if they had ended up at the shelter, they would have most likely been separated and or euthanized. Senior cat KK was abandoned by her owner when she moved. The neighbor ended up taking her in. KK was happy and cared for until her new owner got injured. A cut on her leg became infected and her owner died from sepsis. KK was once again homeless. A friend tried to help by calling around to family, friends, and church members, but no one could take in 15-year-old KK. She did eventually find That Purr. KK is sweet and healthy, so they'll be putting her in their senior citizens for senior citizens fostering program. That way, KK can be someone's companion pet. But when they can no longer care for her, she will return to the sanctuary. She will always have a home. Oscar has kidney disease, and his owner couldn't take care of him. She couldn't rehome him, as he was just also diagnosed with renal disease. She took Oscar to the public shelter, but they wouldn't take him due to his health conditions. Thankfully, they directed her to That Purr Feline Hospice and Sanctuary. Without them, he would have been euthanized. Now he can get the care he needs and live out his life in love. And his owner can still visit him. One day, the That Purr Feline Hospice and Sanctuary received a very distressing phone call. The woman who ran a neighboring cat rescue had a stroke and could no longer care for the cats. Not only could she no longer run the rescue, she was unable to care for her own personal cat, Kerry Ann. Kerry Ann is a senior and has spent her life around 40 or more cats at a time. She wouldn't do well in a traditional home, so the sanctuary took her in, hoping someday she'd be able to return to her owner when she recovered. While they still hope that that day will come, they continue to care for Kerry Ann. As for the dozens of other cats that were at the rescue, many other cat rescues came together and took the cats. Hearts That Purr took in the senior bonded sisters, Jane and Carol. Jane and Carol were adopted as kittens from the cat rescue. They lived their whole lives together until their owner suddenly passed. At 9 years old, they were returned to the cat rescue that they had been adopted from. The senior sisters were terrified to be around new people and animals, and then the very next day, the rescue owner had a stroke. Thankfully, the sisters were then transferred to the Hearts That Purr cat sanctuary. Since then, Carol has passed away. Jane has been able to make new friends and is doing well at the sanctuary. While unexpected tragedy turned Jane and Carol's lives upside down, they ended up somewhere safe where they would be loved. They are lucky. Most senior cats end up stuck at the shelter or euthanized after their owners pass. Make plans for your beloved pets. Have it written in your will and/or connect with a cat sanctuary that offers care programs. Make sure you can answer the question, what happens to your pet if something happens to you?